YouTube recording right now before we get things going. It's going to be a little crazy because of the way we're going to do things here tonight with Tyler, who hosts the Carolina CrowLine. We're going to actually record both shows together. And if you're aware of the reason we moved the time, obviously because we have my children. I have a couple of sick kids and a sick wife. It's like an infirmary around here. We're going to do the show early tonight, which made it kind of move, unfortunately. And we're going to cut out a segment and actually have the same segment on both shows. So the normal middle segment, we'll piece that together. I see we got a bunch of people in the chat room, so we'll get ready to go. Hopefully those numbers will pick up. I did tweet the guys or texted the guys over at TigerNet to let them know that we're going to be up early, that we're not doing the show at the normal time. So that's probably going to deal with some of the stuff we've got right now. Vicky, hey, Vicky, congratulations to you, by the way. We'll definitely make sure to mention that on the show, on the birth of your child. Awesome. And we'll roll with it right now. Stay with us. I should also mention we're going to start with the Clemson Hotline, and we're going to end with the Carolina CrowLine at the end of the day once this is all said and done. So here we go. Clemson Hotline is on the air, a one-hour talk show giving Clemson fans a power hour of Tiger sports talk. Clemson Hotline is presented by y'all.com and brought to you by Amtrak. Clemson Hotline is direct from Tiger Country on a network of radio stations across the great state of South Carolina. And a podcast edition of our show is available for download in iTunes. Hello, everyone. I'm Lawton Swan, and joined by the one and only host of the Carolina CrowLine once again for this rivalry week matchup, Tyler Garrett. Tyler, how you doing?
Oh, man, I'm feeling good, and I cannot wait to start talking some Clemson, Carolina.
Well, I'll tell you, it's exciting because these two teams, I think back to when I was in school, and I believe they went into this game. South Carolina was 1-10, and Clemson was 2-9. And the Tiger fans celebrated that third victory of the season and sent the Gamecocks home pouty. It's a completely different scenario now.
Completely different scenario. Now people are talking BCS hopes and title hopes yearly. So I would say the climate here for South Carolina football across the state is definitely on the up and up where fans of both schools want it to be.
Well, we're going to talk about the BCS, the perspective on this game for both of us and our predictions. And in an odd turn of events, Tyler's going to give you the reasons that Clemson will win this game while I will tell you why South Carolina will win this game. That should be fun. Stay with us. We got a lot of people in the chat room looking to boost the viewers. Tweet to us, hashtag TN Talk, and send the link out. ClemsonSportsTalk.com. We're live on the front page. Stay with us, Tiger fans, and you Gamecock fans as well. Take your business to the next level with innovative website design from Foodog Media. Foodog can handle all your web, graphic, and social media needs. Call them today, 843-864-9268. That's 843-864-9268. Mention this ad and receive 10% off of your website. Foodog is a Clemson-owned business. See their portfolio at www.foodogmedia.net. May the food be with you.
And now the number one reason to get Genie from DirecTV, the most advanced HD DVR ever. It serves your entire home with one HD DVR. Call now and get a free upgrade to Genie. Packages start at $29.99 a month.
Call 800-399-5101 now and get the NFL Sunday ticket free for the rest of the season. That's 800-399-5101.
DirecTV or an RVU-enabled TV device required for each additional room. Additional and advanced receiver fees apply. Offer requires 24-month agreement and qualifying package. $29.99 package not eligible. Offer ends 2/6/13. New approved customers only. Lease required. Other conditions apply. Call for details.
Attention pain sufferers. Are you one of the millions of Americans who suffer from arthritis pain, back pain, muscle strains, or any other pain? Get pain relief in minutes with real-time pain relief. It can work that fast. If your pain is preventing you from enjoying life, or worse, if pain is keeping you up at night, visit rtpr.com/radio for your free sample. We're so confident real-time pain relief will help you, we'll even pay for the shipping and handling. That's right, free sample and free shipping of the best-smelling, most effective topical pain relief product on the market.
I tried it and it worked. The fragrance is amazing. It has a refreshing scent, so I'm pain-free and smell good too.
The makers of real-time pain relief are so confident that you'll love their product. They're offering you a sample absolutely free, and that includes free shipping. Remember to visit rtpr.com/radio now for your free sample with free shipping. That's rtpr.com/radio. Again, go to rtpr.com/radio.
G-Dog General Dentistry at Oak Grove is located on Highway 1 near the Barnyard Flea Market. Modern, relaxing dentistry with TVs and headphones in every room, nitrous and even oral sedation. Digital diagnostic x-rays for better quality and 85% less radiation exposure. And check out their new Clemson Patient Special. Mention that you heard about G-Dog here on the Clemson Sports Talk programs and receive an extra 5% off all services through football season. If you don't have a regular dentist, go see my dentist, Dr. Rick Jackson at G-Dog. That's General Dentistry at Oak Grove. Are you a landowner who owns more than 10 acres that's interested in selling timber or pulpwood off your property? Cross Creek Timber is a full-service timber procurement company that buys standing saw timber and pulpwood. They're staffed with professional licensed foresters and fully insured with both workers' comp and general liability insurance. Let Cross Creek Timber develop the appropriate harvesting plan for your property and answer any questions regarding forest management. Call today, 864-517-3620. That's 864-517-3620 for your free woodland evaluation, or visit www.crosscreektimber.com.
Think if you live in a rural area you have to settle for a slow online experience? We think that's crazy. Exceed Broadband, it's the highest capacity satellite in the world, and it makes everything faster. Streaming videos, TV shows and movies, sharing photos, video chatting, sending files, and more. New feature, Late Night Free Zone. For details, call 800-503-7232. That's 800-503-7232 for Exceed Broadband. Call 800-503-7232. Again, 800-503-7232. Call now, 800-503-7232.
When the time runs off the clock, the football game is done. My orange blood's pumping fast, the Tiger team has won. I head for the parking lot, jump in my orange car, drive to home on Orange Street, walk through my orange yard. Waiting at the door for me to see just how we did is my orange dog, orange wife, and orange kids. I'm an orange fan.
Welcome into the Clemson Hotline. I'm your host, Lawton Swan. Sitting alongside me is host of the Carolina CrowLine, Tyler Garrett. Tyler, once again, welcome you in the opening segment. But you know what? For the next few days, I can extend a hand of friendship. But let me tell you, come Saturday, it's war, brother.
We're not friends always. We're not normally friends. Not even on Saturday.
Well, you know, I try not to admit.
Just for those 4 quarters, I guess. Maybe not.
I try to act like I don't really know you, to be honest with you, when we're out in public.
All right. Well, the next time you swing by my tailgate, I'm going to act like I don't know you either.
Right? See, Clemson Tom wants to know, are you live from a prison?
Nope, not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. Maybe if things go the wrong way on Saturday, I might be.
Well, listen, I would love to get into the recapping of the Clemson and NC State ball game, but for fear of not having enough time in the opening segment to talk about the number of touchdowns that were scored in that game and the runs that were had between these two ball clubs, I'm just going to leave it at the fact that there was very little defense played in this game by either team. And perhaps Clemson's 42-0 run right there in the middle of the game was one of the most impressive scoring streaks I've seen in a game where both teams actually put points on the board.
Yeah, well, that was, that scoring streak is almost as impressive as a scoring streak Clemson was also a part of last year during bowl season. We won't get in too much into that. But to be more serious, on a serious note, to your point, yes, it was very impressive. NC State looked like they were just going to get blown out of the building, and they were able to string together some drives. Mike Glennon, I don't think there's any doubt that he's going to be NFL bound in the first round here very, very soon. But then, of course, it's just, Taj Boyd and the weapons and the multiple formations and the plays the play options that come out of every formation, it's indefendable for a lot of teams, and that happened against NC State, and they did get run out of the building after all.
And we've got a lot of people in the chat room. I see Jonathan and Corey. Of course, I mentioned Clemson Tom. Had an opportunity to step up with him and put that championship belt on my shoulder. That felt good. You ever had a championship belt on your shoulder over there, son?
No, not a championship belt on my shoulder. Nope. Can't say that I have.
You need to get one. We'll see if we can work out and find you a way to get you a belt.
Maybe we need to have like a TigerNet Carolina CrowLine belt, and whoever's the winner of the game gets to have the belt for that season of the show.
You've really got high hopes for your program sticking around for a few years.
Well, why not?
Let me tell you this, too, people. The ways you can participate with us here on the program, hashtag TN Talk. Email us, Clemson81@gmail.com. That's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can call us. If you go to ClemsonSportsTalk.com, a little pop-out comes that says, leave us a voicemail. You can do that. We can pipe you into the program. We'd love to hear from you and get you on here with us. And I want to congratulate Vicky in the chat room. She's a loyal fan. She puts it out there on Twitter. She puts it in the chat room. She is great. Just had her first, I believe it's her first child. I don't know if it's her first child, but it's definitely a child. She definitely has. It's her third, so she's a veteran. So she probably, returned right from the hospital. She was probably at the game this Saturday, but it was her first boy. So congratulations to Vicky, one of our loyal followers. Now, this is going to be a very interesting game, I think, for a lot of people because you do have what is perceived to be a very high-powered offense in Clemson, and you look at the numbers, you look at the third down conversion rates, improving the fourth down conversion rates, going 2 for 2 against NC State, and now you've got the South Carolina Gamecocks, one of the top defenses in the country. When you talk about the ACC, you talk about the SEC, right now the perception is nationally that the SEC is an elite group of teams from top to bottom, and if you lose, you tend to stay at the top. But my thing I want to ask you, Tyler, and I know we've only got about 3 minutes before we go to our first break, and this is something that I see a lot on Facebook, I see in social media, is the SEC teams or fans maybe pounding their chest about their conference. And the reason I ask you this, do Cowboy fans pound their chest when the Giants win the Super Bowl about how great the NFC East is? And I don't ever see that. I don't see those fans coming out saying, way to go Giants. But because college football, you're judged not by your team, but by how your conference plays, you have to kind of be concerned with what everybody's doing around you. The Cowboys could care less what the Giants are doing. I mean, don't you think that that's just a stupid concept that we've got ourselves surrounded in because of the BCS?
I think it's definitely unique to college athletics. I think that, if and to a degree, I don't necessarily understand it either. I could probably care less what Georgia does, for my sake. I'm not going to sit there and if Georgia has a great year and say, hey, hooray for Georgia and the SEC. My love for Georgia is not going to get any bigger anytime soon. And I think just when you take a look at the success the SEC has had with the consecutive national championships, with always floating around the national championship discussion. If you remember at the beginning of this year, a lot of people were saying this was going to be the first year that the SEC was not going to have a member in the national championship game. So I think it's just kind of one of those machines that have just pumped the SEC hype machine over and over and over again. And I think when you talk about matching up against other conferences, I think there is that fan loyalty to their conference, just like you would have for the ACC beating down some SEC schools or vice versa. By the way, interesting fact, Big East undefeated against SEC opponents this year. When you take a look at, who was it? I think it was Kentucky that went down. Missouri just lost to Syracuse.
Right.
So, for all the chest thumping that does go on for the SEC, it's not all peaches and cream, I think, especially when you take a look at the bottom half of the SEC.
Well, and I also want to say that, there's one thing that really makes it tough for me to buy into everything that you see from the BCS and the numbers and whether Clemson is better than South Carolina is better than Clemson, or even Florida or Georgia, and I'll get your take on those programs in a minute. I think I know how you feel about those. But, when you talk about the out-of-conference sample, there's just not a big enough one for people to look at and say, hey, you know what, my team is better than this team because of our conference, because quite frankly, there's not enough cross-conference games, and maybe if we go to a 16-team regular season, we could see that and fix it. I don't know. Stay with us. We'll be back with more here on the Clemson Hotline on the John C. Calhoun Radio Network.
a train a-comin', it's rolling around a bend, and I ain't seen the sunshine since I don't know when. I'm stuck in Folsom Prison, and time keeps dragging on.
Welcome back into the program. It's a combo show here for all you Gamecock fans and all you Tiger fans out there. I'm Lawton Swan. He's Tyler Garrett. Middle segment of both programs going to be the same this week. It's a little unique. That's the way we do it, though, here on these two programs, Clemson Hotline and Carolina CrowLine, whenever we get together for the big Palmetto State battle. And I want to send a shout-out to my little man, Ian. I saw him at the game the other day. Ian was like, you do radio? I was like, absolutely. So I do want to send a shout-out to Ian and say thanks for tuning into the program, big man. And I appreciated every high five. And there were a lot of high fives to go around in Death Valley this weekend. Now, Tyler, I got to ask you this, though. As a Gamecock fan, Steve Spurrier said to the fans, you know what, guys, when it's halftime, I want you to boo those people who are leaving the stadium early. Was it was this something that he set up to keep the game close at the half against Wofford so that the fans couldn't leave? Is that something he was trying to do?
No, in all seriousness, I think, me not being a student anymore, not being quite in touch with what's going on with the students, there definitely seems to be something fishy going on with the student section in terms of, how the students have to enter the game and how they have to leave the game and their wristbands and how they are either assigned to the lower deck or the upper deck. And a lot of the students are complaining about how they can't get together with the people that they want to spend time with in the football game and those sorts of things, and people leaving early to hang out with the people they want to hang out with if they've been separated by where they have to sit and those sorts of things.
Right.
Honestly, when I was a student, I couldn't care less about any of that sort of stuff. I was getting into the game, and I was going to be, jumping up and down and screaming and yelling and carrying on like a nut. Like if you're in a student section, you absolutely should be doing. So while the stadium was not sold out, there was a lot less people leaving early, partly just because the game was close there at halftime and on into the fourth quarter. I think when they started to when Auguste picked up that fumble and ran it back, you definitely saw some people start to head for the exits. But other than that, I think a lot of people chose to stick around this time.
Did you hear booing? Did people?
You know what? I didn't hear any booing. I did not hear any booing, which was a little unfortunate, because if there's one thing I'd love, it's to not pass up any opportunity to boo. Booing is extremely fun for me, so I boo every chance I get. However, I didn't really find much of an opportunity, so better luck next time.
Well, the phone lines are always open here on the Clemson Hotline / Carolina CrowLine, 803-450-0086. If you're a Clemson fan and you're just listening to the Carolina CrowLine to kill some time this week, guess what? Tweet to us, #TNTalk. And if you're a Gamecock fan,
it's #CrowLine.
All right, so #CrowLine for all you Gamecock fans. And we're going to send it out to the phone lines right now. We actually have a call from Steven, I believe it was. Steven used the leave a voicemail button on the front page of ClemsonSportsTalk.com and left us this voicemail this week.
Hey, you do an amazing job, dude. I love listening to you every week. Thanks for keeping it real, and thanks for having a wonderful show that always keeps me interested and up to date on what's going on. Do you the man? Keep it going, bro. I had a question. What do you think it would be like if it were possible for Clemson and Florida State to play on a neutral site? Do you think that would have changed the outcome? And also, do you think it would change the outcome if Clemson had played Florida State on a neutral site to begin with? And if you think Clemson at this point of the season is a much better team, or is a team that would beat Florida State at this point in time versus early in the season due to injuries and stuff like that?
That's a pretty interesting topic when you think about it, and that kind of goes into what we've said already. We look at all these teams that are out there, two-loss teams, and personally I'm going to go ahead and tell you, if you're a two-loss team, at this point, the way things are set up, I really don't think you should be in the equation to play in the national championship. The only way I would buy into a two-loss team being there is if there were no one-loss teams and there was only one undefeated team. I think it should always be teams who have one less or equal to the amount of losses and not two. That's just my personal feelings on it. I've always felt that way, and I don't think it'll ever change, because I think if you've been beaten twice on the field of play and there are other teams out there that have only been beaten once, it doesn't matter if you're playing in the ACC, the SEC, Big 12, Big 10, whatever, you've gone out there out of 12 games and only been beaten once versus a team that's gone out 12 games and been beaten twice. So I do have an issue with that. But speaking directly to this question about Clemson and Florida State, I think you saw Clemson when they got up 28-14 on the road at Florida State. The fact that this Clemson team and this offense is good enough for not only to contend with one of the best defenses in America, but also to be right there in the mix on the road at Florida State. Now, I don't know about you, Tyler, but I think if that game was played on a neutral site the minute that Florida State made a big play, maybe the Seminole fans don't quite get as hyped up as they were, and perhaps the tide and momentum doesn't shift. And I kind of wonder, you see people out there saying maybe some of these conferences should consider, and this might be something that you would be in favor of at some point, is that if there is a team in one side of the league, this kind of goes back to that 2-loss, 3-loss thing, right. I guess, something where, say, perhaps like this year in the ACC, where Clemson and Florida State are so far ahead of everybody else in this league, maybe it would be better if instead of Miami playing in the ACC championship game, because there's a 2-game margin between one side. For example, last year in the SEC, should it have been Alabama and LSU in the SEC championship game? I think that's an intriguing concept.
And I think that's something that SEC has recently considered, especially with basketball, with the they broke up the divisions, and now it's just one field top to bottom. If you are if you're successful no matter what conference you're in, then you're going to be those people that get seated higher for the SEC tournament in basketball. So that would be something to consider in football. I just don't think it would ever happen. I think that there'd be too many people. I mean, Lord, it's taken us years just to get rid of the BCS. How long would it take for the front office of these conferences to go ahead and go with such a monumental shift such as that? But you do see this, SEC has been guilty of it. The Western Division has been much stronger than the Eastern Division here in the recent past, and I think you're seeing that with the ACC as well.
Well, I got to tell the people out there who are watching the show, maybe it's the YouTube video, maybe you're watching it live on Vocal where Tyler does the Carolina CrowLine, I do the Clemson Hotline each and every week. We're trying to do this dual video feed, so every once in a while Tyler's video will freeze up a little bit, and in the chat room somebody asked if I actually had killed you when you were frozen a minute ago. And then someone else said, no, you were just tied to the chair.
Han Solo style, right? Just frozen in
carbonite.
Yeah.
Frozen in carbonite. Well, this is one of the best and longest running series in the history of college football.
Third longest consecutive series on the continent, I guess.
Yeah, in the world even. Could we say in the universe?
College football speaking, yeah.
Wherever. But the point I want to make is this. There are a lot of people upset with the fact that College Game Day chose to go out to Southern Cal to see that 4-loss debacle in Lane Kiffin going up against Notre Dame, the number 1 team in the country. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm not surprised, to be perfectly honest. I think, all we could possibly have done was both of us win our games to go ahead and do what we needed to do to get game day to come. But when you take a look, South Carolina has already had game day twice in Gainesville and here in Columbia against Georgia. So, and with that kind of lackluster performance, I think there were just more intriguing games to take a look at. And they were already on the West Coast anyway, so they figured you might as well stick out there.
All right, we're going to send it out to the phone lines. Hopefully we got a caller here. Oh, and look at there. Dropped off the line. I'll tell you what. Give us a call back. 803-450-0086. 803-450-0086. And I hate it because I think, if you really look at it, what do people want to see? I think people would like to see maybe Florida State this week, another top 10 matchup that's out there. Clemson and South Carolina obviously this year have earned it on the field. We're going to send it out to a short break. But when we get back, we'll talk with one of our callers here on the Clemson Hotline / Carolina CrowLine. Stay with us. Enjoy the Clemson football season at Seasons by the Lake Restaurant. Tiger Tailgate on the Terrace at Seasons Restaurant will be held every Clemson football game day, rain or shine, home or away, from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. for those day games and noon to midnight for the evening kickoffs. Enjoy a large screen TV, a Bloody Mary and mimosa bar, specialty drinks, and a great tailgate menu, all on the Seasons Terrace. For more information, call 656-7444. or visit their Facebook page, facebook.com/Seasons by the Lake. I hope to see you on the terrace.
Think if you live in a rural area you have to settle for a slow online experience? We think that's crazy. Exceed Broadband, it's the highest capacity satellite in the world, and it makes everything faster. Streaming videos, TV shows and movies, sharing photos, video chatting, sending files, and more. New feature, Late Night Free Zone. For details, call 800-503-7232. That's 800-503-7232 for Exceed Broadband. Call 800-503-7232. Again, 800-503-7232. Call now, 800-503-7232.
Attention pain sufferers. Are you one of the millions of Americans who suffer from arthritis pain, back pain, muscle strains, or any other pain? Get pain relief in minutes with real-time pain relief. It can work that fast. If your pain is preventing you from enjoying life, or worse, if pain is keeping you up at night, visit rtpr.com/radio for your free sample. We're so confident real-time pain relief will help you, we'll even pay for the shipping and handling. That's right, free sample and free shipping of the best-smelling, most effective topical pain relief product on the market.
I tried it and it worked. The fragrance is amazing. It has a refreshing scent, so I'm pain-free and smell good too.
The makers of real-time pain relief are so confident that you'll love their product. They're offering you a sample absolutely free, and that includes free shipping. Remember to visit rtpr.com/radio now for your free sample with free shipping. That's rtpr.com/radio. Again, go to rtpr.com/radio.
And now the number one reason to get Genie from DirecTV, the most advanced HD DVR ever. It serves your entire home with one HD DVR. Call now and get a free upgrade to Genie. Packages start at $29.99 a month.
Call 800-399-5101 now. Get 47 channels of HBO Stars Cinemax free for 3 months. That's 800-399-5101.
DirecTV or an RVU-enabled TV device required for each additional room. Additional and advanced receiver fees apply. Offer requires 24-month agreement and qualifying package. $29.99 package not eligible. Offer ends 2/6/13. New approved customers only. Lease required. Other conditions apply. Call for details.
Are you a landowner who owns more than 10 acres that's interested in selling timber or pulpwood off your property? Cross Creek Timber is a full-service timber procurement company that buys standing saw timber and pulpwood. They're staffed with professional licensed foresters and fully insured with both workers' comp and general liability insurance. Let Cross Creek Timber develop the appropriate harvesting plan for your property and answer any questions regarding forest management. Call today, 864-517-3620. That's 864-517-3620 for your free woodland evaluation, or visit www.crosscreektimber.com.
Hey, sports fans, listen up. If you're a fan of the Gamecocks, the Citadel Bulldogs, or you just simply get chills from the Tigers running down the hill, then CRM Sports has a weekly show just for you. Even if Cocky and the Tiger make your blood boil, then just tune in for a good laugh. Each week, Gamecock fans hear the CRM Sports show Carolina CrowLine broadcasting live from downtown Columbia. And Clemson fans enjoy the Clemson Hotline broadcasting live just miles away from their beloved Death Valley. It's fun, independent, objective, and informative talk about your favorite college team. To listen to the various CRM Sports Collegiate Sports Talk podcasts, visit iTunes and search for CRM Sports, and the action-packed shows will be just a free click away. CRM Sports. Check them out on iTunes and get all the inside info on your favorite Southern team. CRM Sports. We know Southern sports.
All right, welcome back into the program. We are rolling along here. We are wall-to-wall Clemson, Carolina. This is the Carolina CrowLine / Clemson Hotline here. Tyler Garrett, your host of the Clemson, not the Clemson Hotline, the Carolina CrowLine, and Lawton Swan, my main man, host of the Clemson Hotline. As we said before the break, we're going to toss it out to the phone. So, Lawton, punch the big button there, and let's get our caller in the show.
Go ahead, caller.
Hey, this is Tyler's worst nightmare. I'm looking at you, buddy.
You're looking at me. How do I look?
You look ugly. Lawton, tell him I said he's ugly.
He can hear you.
I can hear you, my man.
But I'm not talking directly to him because this is America. You address me as sir. It's rivalry week. Are you going to shave that beard, or are you going to look like a grown-up Justin Bieber?
It is a rivalry week, so give me your best shot, buddy.
Clemson Tom here with us.
All right. You honestly think you're going to roll into Death Valley and leave with a W?
Well, I'm not sure I got my tickets yet, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be rolling in Death Valley at all. But why wouldn't I be? Why wouldn't I be rolling out with a victory? Why wouldn't I be rolling out with a victory?
Well, for one thing, you're a loser. I'm looking at that polo. Who's this shit? Seriously, there's no way you combed your hair that well.
Your mom bought me this polo. What are you talking about?
You missed a button. You don't talk to me in that tone. I ain't blinked in 5 minutes. Don't you dare make a sudden move. I'm eyeballing you.
Well, why don't you tell me why you're going to roll out of Death Valley with a win?
You want me to break it down like ESPN does?
Yeah.
Well, first off, ESPN thought you were the greatest thing since vanilla ice cream came out in soft serve, and then you ended up losing some games like we all knew you would, and then they are completely have disowned you like a stepchild you just never liked. So first off, Connie Shaw, last time I saw him, he was in a walking boot, and then I went behind him and kicked him in his other knee, so I got 2 bad legs. And then you got what's his name as a defensive end, Doo-Doo Clowney. That's his real nickname, Tyler, is Doo-Doo.
Doo-Doo.
And now he's got a hurt foot.
Well, that's because you know what he does to quarterbacks after he sacks them. That's why he's called Doo-Doo.
That is the worst comeback I've ever heard in my life. The man's nickname is Doo-Doo, and you said they call him Doo-Doo because he makes quarterbacks doo-doo in their pants. I'm gonna make Spurrier doo-doo in his pants. What does that do for you?
That's why he has a visor.
Who wears a visor anymore? Look at Lawton. He rocks that bald head. It looks glorious. It looks like the sun in Death Valley.
He is a handsome man, almost as handsome as Clemson Tom.
Get you some swag. Our 5th-string redshirt quarterback could be a starter on your team.
Oh, that's right.
Garbage.
Yeah, Swag Kelly.
In a stadium that looks like a penitentiary. I feel like I'm watching Longest Yard Part 4 every time you're on TV.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
You can stop saying me and Nuke and Ford and Ellington and Taj, and that's just a few players I could just name off the top of my head.
That's all the players you can name off the top of your head? 4's your limit?
Well, in one big grasp of air. Unlike you, I don't breathe hot air 24/7. I got to breathe natural God-given air from the Valley of Clemson. Nice T-shirt, by the way. Seriously, look at that thing.
I'm surprised you can't breathe hot air. It sounds like there's so much coming from the telephone that you'd be used to breathing the hot air.
I'm eyeballing you right now. I got my eyes on you. So you really think you're gonna beat my boys?
I think it'll be a heck of a game.
Right before the coin toss, yes.
Well, you are awfully confident. You must have a short memory. 3 years? 3 years? I don't.
My first 3 feet.
3 years. Yeah, but this is the most recent 3 years. It's the most recent 3 years. I mean, if you want to talk some history, why don't we just talk recent history?
I like to talk season by season. I'm actually known for not bringing up history. I talk season by season. What has the SEC done for y'all? I've been wanting someone to tell me.
Well, they have not done very much good for us lately. Thank you, Texas A&M and Alabama. They haven't done very much good for us here within the recent weeks. That's the truth.
So, serious question. How come every time someone else in the SEC does something good, you boys are like the first one to start an SEC parade?
You've ever seen me in an SEC parade?
Yeah, I've seen it. I went to Columbia one time. You guys like wave your little SEC banners every time someone else in the SEC does.
The only banner we have is a 1969 ACC banner. It's the only banner we have.
So how come y'all chant SEC when someone else does something? I mean, I want to know an answer.
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't chant SEC when somebody else does something.
Now, I will say this, Tom, and I know I've known Tyler a long time. Tyler is not one of those pound your chest SEC guys. They exist, though. We know that for a fact. He is not.
All right, he got 1 point. He's at -5 right now.
Yes. So, Clemson Tom, let me ask you.
How come y'all do that? Go ahead, hit me up.
Well, here's my question for you. You know, you've kind of pronounced yourself as you're kind of out as a Clemson fan now, right? I mean, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah, that's a rumor floating around that I'm a Clemson fan, yeah.
Do the Gamecocks give you more grief than the Tiger fans give you support?
It's probably 50-50. I've never met – all you got to do to make a Gamecock mad is say, nice, mediocre season. And then you might as well have, like, burned down their house. It is so easy to make them mad. I even tested it the other day. I said that they had an average team, and the next thing you know, I had to turn my phone off because it was just blowing up with, well, who have you played? What have you done? And I'm like, well, what have you done? Y'all haven't done anything either. I can't help it that we got to play Wake Forest and NC State and Duke. You just got to beat the man in front of you and call it a day.
Now, we don't have any concern that Carolina Clint is going to dive bomb the remaining portion of the Clemson Hotline, do we?
I don't know. Y'all might have to get on him. I don't talk to that guy.
Is it Gamecock Glenn or Carolina Clint or?
No, Gamecock Glenn is Carolina Clint's cousin.
Oh, okay.
Yes, twin cousin, actually.
I see.
Tom, man, hey, I appreciate you phoning in and giving Tyler a little grief here. That worked out great for me.
Pleasure talking to you. I hope I can meet you in person here sometime very soon.
Hey, trust me, it's all on your side, but I'm eyeballing you. You make a false move, I'm driving to Columbia.
All right. You let me know.
All right, Clemson.
I'll hit you on Twitter.
All right, bye,
Clemson
man.
Tom, everybody. He's wide open.
Yeah, he's no joke.
How many Red Bulls do you think he's had?
Well, he said he hadn't blinked in 10 minutes or something like that, so a few.
That was fantastic. It's pretty easy to see why. He is a polarizing figure right now in this rivalry. I mean, it was amazing to see him the other day riding around. He took some snaps and was playing football with some of the kids, and this one kid stopped in the middle of everything and said, "Hold on a second. I know you. Can I shake your hand?" I mean, this guy, in the old days, Clemson had this figure called the country gentleman that was alongside with the Tiger. Clemson Tom is becoming like the next little level of the country gentleman. He's somebody that the kids love in the parking lots.
Everybody loves a little bit of good old-fashioned smack talk. That's exactly why ESPN people love Lou Holtz, because he gets on there and he'll say anything, and Mark May will look like his head's about to explode, and that's exactly the same sort of thing that Clemson Tom does. He has a market, he serves a purpose, and he gets people talking about the rivalry, and in the end, that's a good thing.
And you talked before we kind of got into that with Clemson Tom about the history of this rivalry and the legacy of these two. You got to go back to 1950 to 1954 to find a Gamecock fan who was born when the Gamecocks went on a run like they're on right now in this series. They won 4 straight from 50 to 54. My son, poor thing, he's 3 years old. He's 0 for 3. I mean, in my lifetime, that's the worst you could ever be. So I don't know how he's going to bounce back, but I got a feeling he will when I look at the long term of the series. But it's been since 1950 since we've seen something like that, and you talk about the makings of a change. Remember when Steve Spurrier got to Carolina, he said, you know what, we're taking down the beat Clemson stuff. We just want to be competitive in the SEC, and beating Clemson will come with that. Well, seemingly that logic has worked thus far for Coach Steve Spurrier.
Yeah, and he said it after his post-game press conference this past Saturday. That Clemson was so far into the heads of everything and everybody that was involved with the USC football program, because there were just signs up every year and everybody talked about beating Clemson, and Spurrier said, we can't even worry about beating Clemson until we start beating the teams that are in our own division. So he took all that stuff down as soon as he got here, and you're just focusing on that next team in front of you one game at a time, much like I've heard Dabo Swinney talk about it in the past and with the ACC too. So, and I think that's the mentality you have to have, because when you focus on that team in front of you and you believe in your preparation and the things you do to make your program successful, then I think taking care of your rival is just one of the things that will take care of itself.
And now you look at it from a Clemson fan's perspective. We have not been in this situation since that time. And I think when Carolina finally got back-to-back victories, Clemson fans said, all right, this is going to end now. We're going to put a stop to this. Then it didn't happen last year. I can tell you this. When you go into Williams-Brice Stadium, and I've been there a couple of times, and the Carolina Gamecocks have typically had their tails kicked by the Clemson Tigers, their fan base gets hungry after a while after it's happened. And this is finally the season where I've seen that turn by the Clemson fans. They've taken a lot of heat for 1,000+ days. They're tired of it, and for the first time in a long time, I fully expect all of Death Valley to be entrenched in this ball game against the South Carolina Gamecocks. Stay with us here. Combo Show, Clemson Hotline, Carolina CrowLine. We'll let Tony Soprano send you out because somebody could get whacked in this.
Kelly QB, reppin' for his team. You can hate him, you can love him, you ain't stopping the dream. Hit him Harlem, pound or for my town. Clemson Tigers, they be shutting you down. Check Kelly QB.
Welcome back into the Clemson Hotline. I'm your host, Lawton Swan. The hour flies by when you've got a guest like Clemson Tom calling into the program and just ripping it apart. Also, I believe that was Stefan or Steven. I can't remember who called in. Steven earlier, who called in and had a great question. And now we're going to get to the point of the show that's going to be a little bit awkward, I guess, for both of us, because all of a sudden we have to defend the other team. Now, look, here's the thing I want you to know tonight if you're listening to the programs live here on Vocal. This is important. I give my predictions on the Clemson game on Wednesday night at 9 o'clock, the edition of the program called TigerNet Talk. Check that out. It'll be on ClemsonSportsTalk.com and on the front page of TigerNet.com as well. So I'm not giving a prediction on this ballgame until then. Tyler, on the other hand, will be giving his prediction at the end of the Carolina CrowLine. So stick around for that because you want to find out what he has to say about this. But first, we get into the topic of defending the rival, defending the enemy, I guess, stepping into enemy territory and telling each other why the team you don't want to win will win this ballgame on Saturday. So, Tyler, I shall yield to you, sir. Why will Clemson win this game on Saturday?
What do you mean, why will Clemson win this game on Saturday? How can Clemson not win this game on Saturday? South Carolina can't do anything on offense. Marcus Lattimore is laid up in a hospital bed. Connor Shaw can barely walk. Kenny Miles is a senior on his way out. The offensive line can't move anybody off the ball. And then when you take a look at Clemson, I mean, Taj Boyd he was responsible for 8 touchdowns all by himself last Saturday. Andre Ellington, the offensive line that sore spot at the beginning of the year now is a strong point for that offense. You can run multiple formations. Every wide receiver is open all the time. We've got 4 wide receivers that are better than any wide receiver that's probably on South Carolina's team. Sammy, you can't touch me, Watkins, Martavius
Nice.
Bryant, Sharon Peak, Nuke Hopkins has had an all-pro season. So Clemson fans are tired of getting their tails kicked in by South Carolina. It's at home in Death Valley. We all know how Coach Dabo Swinney felt about South Carolina last year during his outpouring of support for Clemson during the ACC championship week. I just think there's no possible way. South Carolina can't even do anything on offense. So, I mean, it's just not even going to be close. I think Clemson is going to roll in there and roll out Death Valley and finally give the Clemson fans what they want, and that's going to be a good old-fashioned whooping of the Gamecocks.
That was so awkward to hear. That was so awkward. People in the chat room said I was giving you cue cards.
What? If you've got eyes, you can tell all the reasons why Clemson is going to beat South Carolina here on Saturday at 7.
They said, Tyler, don't make me like you. They were just starting to dislike you enough. All right, so it's my turn now to defend.
I'm very likable.
So now I have to say, as a Clemson man, how South Carolina's going to win this game. First off, you can't outcoach the old ball coach. I mean, that's why he's given the nickname the old ball coach. He's gone to schools like Duke and won Atlantic Coast Conference championships. And I know that Duke's not in the SEC, but he won an Atlantic Coast Conference championship at Duke. He won conference championships at Florida. He won conference championships at South Carolina. And even without a running back like Marcus Lattimore, you know what? They've got the goods behind Connor Shaw to get it done. Connor Shaw is probably the fastest quarterback Clemson's gone up against this season. They haven't seen a quarterback that can run as fast as he can. And he gave Clemson fits last season. He'll give Clemson fits once again. If Clemson doesn't maintain their lanes at the line of scrimmage, if they rush upfield, Connor Shaw can exploit Clemson. Also, down the field, you look at Clemson secondary in that ballgame against Maryland, against NC State the other day. They were just blitzed everywhere by speedy, quick receivers. Well, what do the Gamecocks have? Speedy, quick receivers. They don't have a big, tall wide receiver out there. I could even see a kid like maybe Shaq Rowland having a welcome back party, for Carolina fans. They've hoped this kid would come through. Maybe this is the game. You've got Ace Sanders. You've got the real Ellington. I mean, what more can I say about it? And plus, let me say this about the job that Steve Spurrier has done, not to mention Justice Cunningham, the tight end, who has played great. And I'll tell you this, the best tight end Clemson has seen all season. And that's a fact. That is an absolute fact. Justice Cunningham. But what Steve Spurrier does well is he puts Connor Shaw in situations to be successful. If Carolina can't burn people straight down the field. What he does is he'll roll the pocket, he'll create an angle, and then Ellington or even Ace Sanders is able to run away from the defender to create a long throw down the field, even though it's across the field. Steve Spurrier has been great at doing that. You look at South Carolina's defense, Jadeveon Clowney, the scariest player in college football. Is there anybody anywhere in America better than that kid at getting after the quarterback? He could probably come into that game with a peg leg. It doesn't matter about a bone spur on his foot, and tear Clemson's offensive line apart. So I'm not concerned. I think there'll be enough pressure on Taj Boyd, and quite frankly, the Gamecocks are going to hammer the Tigers in Death Valley. Wow.
How's that feel?
That did not feel good at all. That did not feel good at all.
Did you have to go take a shower after the program?
I do. I feel like a dirty person. Somebody got me on. They got mad at me for saying the real Ellington.
The real Ellington.
That was off the top of the head too. I mean, there was no.
Well, it is a beautiful bald head.
It is a gleaming, shining bald head. But you know what? I'll tell you what. They want to know if I have a hood. Every time somebody says Chad Kelly in the chat room, I have to wear a hood. I know you didn't know that.
Oh, really?
So when I don't wear a hood, it can be 98 degrees outside. We could be doing this show in June, and these guys are like, "Where's the hoodie? Where's the hoodie?" But I tell you what, though, and this is in all honesty, that was a fun segment. Probably the most fun segment. If I knock your
camera... Did you stop knocking me over?
Well, you know, it got hooked on my foot, and I accidentally pulled it. Tennessee fears South Carolina's defense. That's what they're saying in the chat room. And Carolina fears, I guess, Wofford's offense. I don't know. I'll say this about the game. I know we got to get to our final segment before we wrap up here on the Clemson Hotline, and I do appreciate everybody being with us here on the program, is that there's one thing that's really good about this, and I don't think Carolina fans or Clemson fans can deny this fact, and that is that at least now these two teams are finally playing in a game that really means something. And no matter the outcome of the game for the South Carolina Gamecocks or for the Clemson Tigers, the season has ultimately been a successful year when you look at the grand scheme of things. Do you have to carry that weight of the loss for 365? Yes. Is it fun when you got to go to the water cooler and get jabbed every day by the guy who says, you know what, maybe next year you'll have a chance to beat us? No. But clearly, these two teams right now have taken some strides. Whereas Clemson's strides may have put them at second in the Atlantic Coast Conference, you could argue where South Carolina has put them in the SEC. But at least when they go into a lot of games now against teams like Vanderbilt, for example, which was a close game, Carolina found a way. Clemson in a game where against NC State, where they were pushed early, down 24-13. As a fan, as somebody who covers the team, I felt like we were going to get back in it. Both of these teams have really risen up to the level, and it's much more fun. I don't care whose side you are on. I don't care what you think about my opinion on this. I would prefer to go into this game against teams that have records like we do this year than what I had to sit through back during that 2-9, 1-10 ball game and just praying for a Clemson victory at the end.
You're exactly right. I mean, is it more fun to consider yourself the tallest midget or somebody who really was able to use the other person to move down the field of success and talk about BCS aspirations here at the end of the season?
Final segment of the Clemson Hotline coming up right after this. Stay with us. Check out all of our sponsors, too. We'll be right back. Blake Austin of South Carolina Farm Bureau is an insurance agent you can count on to meet all your needs. Home, auto, health, life, you name it, Blake's got you covered, and he can save you on your yearly rates. Call him now for a free quote, 803-259-5008. That's 803-259-5008. Or just go to ClemsonSportsTalk.com and click on the Farm Bureau logo to be connected to Blake. Do like I do and work with the best agent around, and you can tweet that.
Attention pain sufferers. Are you one of the millions of Americans who suffer from arthritis pain, back pain, muscle strains, or any other pain? Get pain relief in minutes with real-time pain relief. It can work that fast. If your pain is preventing you from enjoying life, or worse, if pain is keeping you up at night, visit rtpr.com/radio for your free sample. We're so confident real-time pain relief will help you, we'll even pay for the shipping and handling. That's right, free sample and free shipping of the best-smelling, most effective topical pain relief product on the market.
I tried it and it worked. The fragrance is amazing. It has a refreshing scent, so I'm pain-free and smell good too.
The makers of real-time pain relief are so confident that you'll love their product. They're offering you a sample absolutely free, and that includes free shipping. Remember to visit rtpr.com/radio now for your free sample with free shipping. That's rtpr.com/radio. Again, go to rtpr.com/radio.
Take your business to the next level with innovative website design from Foodog Media. Foodog can handle all your web, graphic, and social media needs. Call them today, 843-864-9268. That's 843-864-9268. Mention this ad and receive 10% off of your website. Foodog is a Clemson-owned business. See their portfolio at www.foodogmedia.net. May the food be with you.
And now the number one reason to get Genie from DirecTV, the most advanced HD DVR ever. It serves your entire home with one HD DVR. Call now and get a free upgrade to Genie. Packages start at $29.99 a month.
Call now. That's 800-399-5101. That's right. Call now at 800-399-5101.
DirecTV or an RVU-enabled TV device required for each additional room. Additional and advanced receiver fees apply. Offer requires 24-month agreement and qualifying package. $29.99 package not eligible. Offer ends 2/6/13. New approved customers only. Lease required. Other conditions apply. Call for details.
Think if you live in a rural area you have to settle for a slow online experience? We think that's crazy. Exceed Broadband. It's the highest capacity satellite in the world, and it makes everything faster. Streaming videos, TV shows and movies, sharing photos, video chatting, sending files, and more. New feature, Late Night Free Zone. For details, call 800-503-7232. That's 800-503-7232 for Exceed Broadband. Call 800-503-7232. Again, 800-503-7232. Call now, 800-503-7232.
Welcome back into the Clemson Hotline. I'm your host, Lawton Swan. Josh Tetzloff, who's always here with us, says he's missing TigerNet Talk to claim some solid student tickets for the game. Carry on without him. Appreciate him tuning into the program. And I know he'll check out the podcast editions, which are available for download in iTunes. And if you get the podcast app on your iPhone or iPad or whatever mini, maybe you got the iPad mini, you can listen to the program that way. It's a great way to check out the show. But now we get to the point of the program where we're going to kind of talk about what we think the keys to this game are for both teams. And I'm going to go ahead and start up front for Clemson right now because I don't think there's any question. You said it in your little rant a moment ago, which was pretty much spot on, by the way. This Clemson team with the wide receiving core that they have, they're legitimate. They're probably, you could argue, the deepest wide receiving core in America and the best wide receivers that the South Carolina Gamecocks have seen this year. I don't think anybody would say otherwise. The question becomes, though, how much time can Taj Boyd have in the pocket? And that gets to how good can the offensive line protect Taj Boyd? And does Clemson have to rely on taking guys like Andre Ellington out of the passing game or maybe even Brandon Ford to utilize the double team on Jadeveon Clowney because he's clearly the best pass rusher in America. If he's playing in this game, that's still something. I don't think this really is a question. He sat out against Wofford, probably to heal, going to have surgery at the end of the season. But that, for me, is the biggest key of this game. You can look at all the speed. You can look at everything Clemson has. Taj Boyd playing much smarter this year. But it's all going to come down to how does that offensive line for Clemson protect against Jadeveon Clowney.
You're exactly right. And I think, furthermore, it's what's going to be the signal to me is how the game gets started. There's no secret that South Carolina has not started games exactly on fire here lately, and I think Clemson is going to come out and throw some early blows here. They score most of their points in the first and second quarters, so I think if South Carolina can weather that storm from a defensive standpoint, I think the Gamecocks will be in this football game. Just like what you said, with that front four, I think there's no doubt Jadeveon Clowney is going to play. He's been missing practices for the last month, and he's had this injury since high school, so he's no stranger to the process. Overall, South Carolina has experimented on defense with moving Swearinger down to the cornerback position and bumping Holloman out of the spur up to the safety position. And We'll just have to see. Is that a formation they're going to utilize against Clemson to try and when Clemson tries to spread them out? I just think the sideline to sideline speed is going to be very important for the Gamecocks if they want to be able to stick in this ball game. And on the flip side, can South Carolina's offense take advantage of the weaknesses that Clemson has shown on defense?
And I would ask you this, and I think this is a fair statement. We don't have long, though. Who has the bigger advantage, Clemson's offense versus South Carolina's defense, or South Carolina's offense versus Clemson's defense?
Right now, I'd probably give the edge to just the danger and the weapons that Clemson has on offense, definitely.
Slight edge there. And if you look at the other side of the equation, Clemson's defense gave up a ton of yardage against NC State. That doesn't make you feel great. The good news, though, for Tiger fans is this game will be at home in the Death Valley.
And I think that definitely, while that wasn't a factor in 2010, I think that might be the deciding factor here this season.
Well, Tyler, appreciate you being with us. Tiger fans, if you're watching the show live on Vocal, stay with us. We got a couple more segments of the Carolina CrowLine, but this has been the Clemson Hotline. Till next time, y'all take care now, and go Tigers! All right, guys, stay with us. Don't go anywhere. We've still got about 30 minutes of live action here. 30 minutes of live action. I'm a little disappointed that we're not going to see the complete BCS stuff. Or some of you like to call it the
8:30.
Yeah.
8 o'clock, something
Normally
like
it's out by the time my show's going.
Well, I don't think you guys are going to get very good news anyway, so.
I'm looking for the response to the chat room.
I mean, they're not big fans of the ACC so far, and I don't see anybody jumping over anybody else.
I got to tell you something. Matthew, I just had to tell that off the air because I'm a clean-cut kind of guy.
Dang.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful.
That is.
All right, let me put this
that's
out.
Good times.
Let me put this back
Good
out
times.
on Twitter for everybody. Let's see. I think what we should do, Tyler, is instead of going to the games one year, maybe when we're old and people are still tuning in, we'll just do the show with the game on.
Just kind of like do our own, what was that show, Mystery Science Theater or something like that, with the robots making fun of the movies?
Well, it was funny because, against NC State the other day, Clemson kept running the same little screenplay. And I know everybody in the chat room's hearing this. But, Clemson kept running that little play out to the side, boom, 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 like 8 or 9 times. And finally it was 3rd and 8, and we ran it again, and we didn't get the first down. And everybody was like, boo! I want to say, you're criticizing Chad Morris. This guy has scored, 37 points per game.
Yeah, here, let me.
In the first half over the past however many games it was coming into that ball game. I mean, you're going to criticize that guy? I'm pretty sure he's seeing something.
Clemson scored 491 points this year.
I'm pretty sure he's picking up on something. I mean, maybe there's a tell.
You think?
Give him a break. Give him a break.
It's probably just an option formation anyway, where Taj Boyd either has the opportunity to throw that quick out, or just hand the ball off or run it himself.
Well, and they've done a lot better job this year, of strategically allowing him to make that call based on what he's seeing. And we've only gotten a few flags this season for offensive linemen down the field, which has worked out well. And I don't know if that's something they've kind of planned. Chat room, I apologize. I got to do a quick little I've got to add the commercials into Tyler's show. Feel free to chat with him. He can't really read what you're saying. Uh-oh. Are you frozen again? You are frozen.
Am I?
All right. Well, somebody say you're a dummy for sure because you're frozen. You're not moving. All right. I'll fix him. He does look better in that top corner, though.
You just
delete and add you back.
Took your hand out of my
screen there.
Yeah. Can't talk.
All right. Everybody, my head must just be a gleaming. Look at that shine.
Ball of shininess.
You know
got hair there. I guess it just doesn't come through on the high def.
There's hair.
The high def cameras we're working with.
All right. Okay. So let me pull these commercials through. It is getting hot up in here too, by the way. I gotta do. This is what. DirecTV. You know what? I've been thinking about putting my own DirecTV account out here. You know, like doing the buddy plan. You know, where they sign up. Somebody, my account is 257 whatever, and then if they sign up, you get $100 a month. I was thinking, it'd be a heck of a deal.
Fraudulate the system.
Whatever I had to do, but now apparently we've.
Sounds just like a Clemson fan.
It sounds. I'm gonna play your little
cheat.
Can I just play this for you?
The Southeastern Conference has established the most outstanding college football tradition in the country.
I guess this doesn't help our SEC chest thumping.
That sounds like
argument.
That sounds like Lou Holtz and somebody had a love child. I don't know who.
No, that's the dude. What's his name? That's the guy who does the old Jefferson Pilot games. I can't even think of his name off the top of my head.
All right, I got to put this real-time pain relief commercial in. And this Exceed commercial. All right, file, save. Sorry, guys.
Hogwood, yeah, that's who it is.
That was Mike Hogwood?
Mike Hogwood, yeah.
He kind of sounded like Lou Holtz.
I like Hogwood. That's the announcer that you grew up listening to with the old Jefferson Pilot and all that stuff before these big time SEC and ACC television contracts.
Right.
I hear and he's the guy that's always on the college flash classics. He's always the one calling those games.
Let's see what we got here. Real-time pain relief. Where's my DirecTV? I hope I don't play the same one, but and Exceed. And then we can't play that voodoo song, so we're going to have to...
Gangnam Style.
Whoop up Gangnam Style.
I mean, that only has 24 million views, so I'm sure that one's probably already been flagged.
Let's see. Let me... All right, here we go. Gamecock fans, it's the Carolina CrowLine. And here's your host, Tyler Garrett.
We may not be LSU or Alabama, but we ain't Clemson.
11 wins is for every Gamecock, always.
All right, welcome into the Carolina CrowLine. This is your host, Tyler Garrett. We are just getting kicked off on the show. We will be fortunate enough to be joined by TigerNet Talk and Clemson Hotline host Lawton Swan will join us. We are wall-to-wall Clemson, Carolina this week, folks, so go ahead and pull up your big boy pants. We're going to get into some serious discussion about the showdown in Death Valley. Saturday at 7 o'clock. South Carolina moves to 9-2 on the season after a somewhat lackluster victory over Wofford to close the home slate 24-7. The number to call, 803-450-0086. Stick with us right here on the Carolina CrowLine. We will be right back.
And now the number one reason to get Genie from DirecTV, the most advanced HD DVR ever. It serves your entire home with one HD DVR. Call now and get a free upgrade to Genie. Packages start at $29.99 a month.
Call 800-399-5101 now and get the NFL Sunday ticket free for the rest of the season. That's 800-399-5101.
DirecTV or an RVU-enabled TV device required for each additional room. Additional and advanced receiver fees apply. Offer requires 24-month agreement and qualifying package. $29.99 package not eligible. Offer ends 2/6/13. New approved customers only. Lease required. Other conditions apply. Call for details.
Attention pain sufferers. Are you one of the millions of Americans who suffer from arthritis pain, back pain, muscle strains, or any other pain? Get pain relief in minutes with real-time pain relief. It can work that fast. If your pain is preventing you from enjoying life, or worse, if pain is keeping you up at night, visit rtpr.com/radio for your free sample. We're so confident real-time pain relief will help you, we'll even pay for the shipping and handling. That's right, free sample and free shipping of the best-smelling, most effective topical pain relief product on the market.
I tried it and it worked. The fragrance is amazing. It has a refreshing scent, so I'm pain-free and smell good too.
The makers of real-time pain relief are so confident that you'll love their product. They're offering you a sample absolutely free, and that includes free shipping. Remember to visit rtpr.com/radio now for your free sample with free shipping. That's rtpr.com/radio. Again, go to rtpr.com/radio.
We scoop the boot, dutycalls.com. When nobody else will do it, dutycalls.com. To make that dog poop go away, call or click for a free quote today.
When nature calls, we answer. To get a free quote for dog poop removal, go to dutycalls.com now.
DOODYCALLS. Dutycalls.com.
In the Midlands area, dial 1-800-DUTY-CALLS. They're number one and number two.
The Southeastern Conference has established the most outstanding college football tradition in the country. The 14 member institutions have combined for an unprecedented 459 bowl appearances. Key to the success of SEC football is support of the many loyal fans who have helped the conference lead the nation in total attendance for 29 consecutive years. The SEC salutes the more than 6.5 million fans who will attend a game at an SEC stadium this year.
Think if you live in a rural area you have to settle for a slow online experience? We think that's crazy. Exceed Broadband, it's the highest capacity satellite in the world, and it makes everything faster. Streaming videos, TV shows and movies, sharing photos, video chatting, sending files, and more. New feature, Late Night Free Zone. For details, call 800-503-7232. That's 800-503-7232 for Exceed Broadband. Call 800-503-7232. Again, 800-503-7232. Call now, 800-503-7232.
All right, welcome back into the Carolina CrowLine. I am your host, Tyler Garrett. The number to call is 803-450-0086. Email us, carolina@y'all.com, carolina@y'all.com, YALL.com. Go ahead and let us know your thoughts and feelings on the upcoming matchup. The big-time matchup in Death Valley. Clemson actually opens as a 4-point favorite here to start the week. My guess would be that line would slide more into Clemson's favor as the week continues. I'm sure that money is going to be coming in on Clemson a lot, which will cause Vegas to slide that line up. We are fortunate enough to be joined by Lawton Swan. He is the host of the Clemson Hotline and the Tiger Net Talk radio show. We're going to go ahead and bring in Lawton right now. Lawton, glad you could join us on this very special edition of the program. All eyes and ears and minds and mouths and words, sometimes not so kind words, are going to be turned towards the Clemson and Carolina matchup coming this Saturday in Death Valley. I know you are just as excited about it as I am.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's finally good to be here in the SEC with you guys over here at the Carolina.
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome into the SEC. And I know that's always a hot button issue, and I see the folks in the chat room talking about it right now.
The League of Champions.
Oh, nice. But you know what? Look, we can talk about the SEC all we want to down the road, but the thing is, they have gone out and won 6 consecutive national championships, and with what just occurred with Oregon and Kansas State, just dropping the ball, for lack of a better term.
Unbelievable, really. Honestly, when you take a look at it, nobody thought that could possibly happen, but it just plays right back into the SEC's favor. To be quite honest, Alabama is right back in the thick of things. I think they jumped back up to number 2 in the polls today, and I think they're going to be sitting pretty as long as they can take care of business in the championship game here in the next few weeks. You will see somebody from the SEC, barring something unforeseen happening. Then again, unforeseen is exactly what we got this past Saturday.
And the unique scenario that could present itself again is that a Florida team may very well find their way into the mix. Let's say Florida beats Florida State. Let's say Georgia somehow gets tripped up by Georgia Tech. And then Georgia beats Alabama in the SEC championship game. You could once again have a team that didn't play for the SEC championship playing in the national title game, depending on how things fall.
Yeah, and I think whether you're an ACC fan or an SEC fan, I think most of us are going to be glad when the BCS when it goes and we'll actually get this closer to a playoff. I think we would like to see more teams eligible for the playoff than what we're going to get. But when you take a look at the rivalry, let's turn our attention to that. I think it's safe to say, Lawton, and you can chime in here at any minute, that the rivalry has been taken up a notch here recently. I think South Carolina's success in the college football landscape, as well as Clemson's success in the college football landscape, and I think now, especially with the Clemson fan base being as fired up as they are with the amount of success that they've had as a football team, and then you add the lack of success that they've had against South Carolina here in the recent past, people are going to be wanting to see their Clemson Tigers definitely do well on Saturday, and you would think that South Carolina winning 3 in a row would, diminish those hopes somewhat. But I think the fan base of Tiger Nation is at an all-time high right now with this game coming up.
Well, and I think the beauty of this matchup is the contrast of styles. You see Clemson with all the flash. You've got the offense up there. You go down and you look at what the job South Carolina is doing defensively, being one of the top teams in America right now defensively, and you've got those two, yin and yang coming together. It's like Superman and Kryptonite. It's the what is the old saying? The immovable force versus the irresistible object. And you've got these two teams that are going to go head to head.
The unstoppable force and the immovable object.
Yeah. Well, I don't. Yeah.
You're the irresistible object.
My Gorilla Monsoon references were quickly shot down, but you know exactly what I'm saying though, is that while maybe Clemson's defense isn't all that great this year, maybe South Carolina's offense isn't all that great, these two powerhouses, and I mean powerhouses. Look, there's not much that Clemson and South Carolina fans would agree on, but I think we could probably agree on this, is that if you had our offense and we had your defense, nobody in America would want a piece of us.
Yeah, and
that's the truth.
That's a great point, and I think that is why a lot of South Carolina fans have confidence going into this game, and the exact same reason why a lot of Clemson fans have confidence going into this game, because when you take a look at the stats and the rankings, when you take a look at the defenses versus offense, South Carolina's offense is nothing special, and I think Clemson's defense is nothing special. However, you have a dynamite offense, and then the defense for Carolina is definitely the strong suit. So it's going to be, just to see who wants it more. I think a lot of coaching is what's going to come into play here. You never know what's going to come out. The play calling here this past weekend against Wofford, you saw all sorts of offense, but at the same time it was a lot of vanilla offense, because I think Spurrier definitely didn't want to give away anything, and I think if you've spent any time watching Clemson's offense, you know all the formations, all the possibilities, and all the plays that can come out of the same formation that Clemson runs. So the object is for Clemson to really spread out South Carolina's defense and make them thin to open up those gaps and spaces to where they can just be picked apart. And if the South Carolina pass rush can get there, I think that'll slow the Clemson's offense down because, they're that quick-hitting offense. But if they're not completing passes, they're not running clock, and that just puts their defense back out on the field. And I think that's something you saw last year here in Columbia, and that will be the object for the Tigers to try and make that switch this year. But like you said, all national eyes will be turned towards this game. Unfortunately, game day chose not to go to Death Valley. They chose to go out to the undefeated Notre Dame game and Lane Kiffin. We all know how. I think if you're an ACC fan or an SEC fan, you guys, I think one thing we can all unite on, and that's how much we dislike Lane Kiffin and how much kind of just, I guess I'm going to use the word loser.
And how much we dislike Notre Dame.
Yeah, exactly. And Notre Dame's a team that's going to be beating down your back door here very soon to begin with. So, it would have been nice. It would have been the Gamecocks' third game day here this season. I think that's something that's never happened. One time it worked out great. One time it was very embarrassing. So they chose to go elsewhere. But I think all eyes in the Southeast, this is probably the best rivalry in the Southeast this weekend, outside of maybe Florida State.
Yeah, I think so. And clearly you see that there is a lot of disdain between these two programs, and it goes further than just maybe on the field, but in the Twitter sphere and social media has really kicked it up a notch. I mean, there are people who get defriended over this. I mean, I mean that's how serious it is. Outside of politics, this is probably, and for some people, maybe even more so than politics, the most important thing that happens each and every year. And the good news is that this is the third longest running rivalry, right? That's what you pointed out to me. And the thing about it is it's so great that we can continue this legacy and this tradition, and hopefully one day it will be recognized for what it is, and I think it is the greatest rivalry out there right now.
Yeah, it's very intense, and intense is good. There's nothing that brings a smile to my face more than when I can walk out of a stadium a happy man after watching all the pouting Clemson fans. And I'm sure that's exactly how Clemson hopes that they feel on Saturday as well.
Yeah.
Can't hate on that, can you? We'll be right back here on the Carolina CrowLine. We're going to get into a little bit of more heated talk here with exactly what Clemson and Carolina needs to do and what this rivalry means.
Carolina, sweet Carolina, yeah, I'm proud of where I'm from.
All right, welcome back into the Carolina CrowLine. I am your host, Tyler Garrett. Proud to be joined by fellow hosts, and I guess in this case, co-host would be a good way to say it.
That's going too far.
Host/host, two hosts.
I don't know. Can we really
my
say
two
that?
hosts? Is that what we should name this? Like my two dads, my two hosts. Lon Swan joins us, host of the Clemson Hotline and TigerNet Talk. Of course, I am Tyler Garrett here, host of the Carolina CrowLine. And I want to go ahead and get into Jonathan McKinley's comments here. I'm just following all the intriguing and intellectual things he has to say here on the chat room on Vocal. If you're listening live on the internet, he wants to friend me so he can defriend me.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
As long as we can do that to each other, I can go ahead and just defriend him as well?
Harping back on the opening segment
Should
of the
we
show.
have a race of who can defriend who faster? I don't know.
Now,
Either way.
I was intrigued by your little debate there a few moments ago with Clemson Tom. How did you let him into this program?
Clemson Tom, well, that wasn't my idea. I think you're going to have to take the credit for that one. But it's always good to hear from Clemson Tom. You know, Gamecock Nation out there knows exactly who Clemson Tom is. He's that guy who gets on YouTube and likes to rant and rave and prank call, you know, the opponents that Clemson has this year and even going back to the end of last year. And I thoroughly enjoy his segments. You know, it makes me laugh. It brings a smile to my face. And I guess at the end of the day, if he's bringing smiles to the faces of the masses, I guess that makes him a happy man. I don't know. Maybe he and Sammy can move out to Colorado because I hear that things might be a little bit more friendly out there between him and Sammy based on some of the latest laws that have been passed out there.
Wow.
They might be able to join hands and sing Kumbaya without being afraid of getting pulled over there on Clemson's campus. But I digress. Let's move forward with some actual serious ACC SEC talk. We talked earlier in the program about the SEC and how a lot of people in the ACC, and even Clemson Tom brought it up when he was talking about, sticking it to Carolina fans and how he talks about the SEC and how everyone thumps their chest about, playing in the SEC and how whenever another team in the SEC does something good, then teams that had nothing to do with it in the SEC, are proud of that accomplishment. And then his argument was, what else can we do? Well, we can only play the teams that are in front of us. We're in the ACC,
right,
and so on and so forth. Well, I think that's exactly why people in the SEC like to thump their chest about the SEC. You don't see people in the ACC thumping their chest about other teams in the ACC because their argument is, well, we can only play who's in front of us. And I don't think a Clemson fan in this world would deny the fact that the competition in the ACC is probably not as good as you would like it to be. I think when you take a look at teams like a Duke, you take a look at even a Maryland, who's, by the way, thinking of jumping ship and going to the Big Ten. You take a look at a Wake Forest, and even a Virginia Tech, who played in a BCS game just as recently as last year, now being struggling to even get bowl eligible. You're talking about a team in Miami who possibly may play Florida State in the ACC championship game, and they're going through bowl sanctions and self-imposed sanctions and all the rampant cheating that's been going on down there. That's why I think, in my opinion, you don't hear ACC people thumping their chest about what other teams in the ACC do, because other teams in the ACC don't do anything right now, especially this year. I think when you take a look at even South Carolina's schedule, a lot of people like to think that South Carolina is just that mediocre team in the SEC, but I want someone to tell me who from the Eastern Division South Carolina has lost to outside of Florida this year in the last 3 years. There's only been one other team that South Carolina has lost to in their own division, and that was a disappointing upset at the hands of Kentucky after they upset number 1 Alabama in 2010. So I think even though South Carolina is not in the top 10, they're not challenging for SEC titles, I think South Carolina has a lot to be proud of. I think even though were embarrassed in Gainesville this year and lost a close game in LSU earlier in the season and were able to thump Georgia, you take a look at where those two teams are ranked now presently, and they're all in the top 10. I don't think you can say that about any of the other ACC teams. I think you could take a look at the rest of the conferences across the nation. Take a look at the Big 10, the Big 12, the Pac-12 now. I just don't think you're going to see the level of competition that you see in the SEC. And people can say that's the hype machine, that's ESPN, plug in the SEC because they have that TV contract, and there might be a certain degree of that. That is true. I'm not denying that in any way. But I think when you take a look at just the overall day-in, day-out level of competition, I think that does speak for itself.
Well, let me ask you this just for a second, just for the sake of the argument, because one thing I think we still got to lean on is that out-of-conference, that lack of play that you see. And when you do see some of these teams in the SEC maybe struggling, like you did with Georgia with the Georgia Southern this past week, or you could go to some of the other games that have occurred this year, maybe LSU playing down to some opponents, and we can call it that if we want to. But the thing is that I know for a fact that you feel this way about how do you feel about Florida?
I feel like Florida's dog crap, and we should have beat
those
guys.
All right, so what do you think about Georgia?
I think we jumped all over Georgia, and they had to change their play calling. But, I think Georgia's a very good team. Now, I don't think that they're going to beat whoever they play for the SEC championship. I think I have no problem saying that the East is definitely, of the two conferences, probably the lesser of the two. I think when you take a look at LSU and Alabama, of course, Arkansas, nobody would have saw that coming. I think much in the same way that nobody really predicted Virginia Tech was going to struggle this season. Mississippi State, they do good. They do well against the little guys, and then they get thumped when it comes to the big time competition. And you might even be able to say that against South Carolina. Use that same argument with South Carolina somewhat, but I don't think you can deny the fact that South Carolina's had a lot of success here in the SEC here recently. Because Lord knows, when you take a look at the matchups, South Carolina's behind, in almost every single matchup. I don't think they've ever beat Auburn. I think that they're behind in the rivalry against Georgia. They're behind in Florida. They had never even won in Knoxville until just recently, a few years back. So I think that South Carolina has come a long way recently, and I think if they can continue the momentum on past the Steve Spurrier era, I think that'll actually be critical. If whatever happens after Coach Spurrier, if they make that right move, I think they're going to continue moving the right direction.
But don't you find it funny, though, for one thing, and I want to make a point about a couple teams, Auburn and Arkansas, two teams who at the beginning of the season many people thought were going to have great years. They tanked this year. They're both having terrible years. Arkansas lost to Louisiana Monroe. They lost to Rutgers. You could look at the schedule and go, what happened to these teams? And Auburn, no wins in conference play. But they're not really a factor in anymore. It's not like, Auburn just won the national championship. We can say it was Cam Newton, whatever. My point is, you could look at the ACC and you could say Clemson, FSU, Virginia Tech, Miami, Georgia Tech, and coming in Notre Dame. That's 6 very good national football teams, I think, if they get to the level they're supposed to be playing at. LSU, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, you could say Auburn or South Carolina. But, typically speaking, when the team in the SEC is down, it's like, they're just having a bad year. It doesn't reflect on the conference. It's everybody that's at the top that people look at. Whereas I think if you really looked at Clemson and Florida State, and this weekend we'll get a chance to see it. If Clemson and Florida State, I'm going to pose this question to you. If Clemson and Florida State handle business against South Carolina and Florida, do those two teams deserve perhaps to jump every other 2-loss SEC team that remains, like an LSU, like a Texas A&M, in the polls because they went in and played against the teams they need to play against from the SEC and proved on the field that those two teams were more worthy of being in that top 10 ranking than, say, the two SEC opponents?
I don't think there's any question. I think they will jump those teams. I think that's the only thing. The only reason why Clemson and Florida State are not ranked higher than they are right now is because of the level of competition. And you're going to hear the Clemson fans and the ACC fans say, what are we supposed to do? We can only play who's in front of us. Well, if that's going to be your argument, then you shouldn't be surprised when you're not as highly ranked as you are and you have to take advantage of those opportunities. If they win, I got no problem with them jumping all the other SEC teams. We're going to jump out to a quick break here on the Carolina CrowLine. Stick with us as we continue wall-to-wall Clemson, Carolina here on the Carolina CrowLine with Lawton Swan. I'm your host, Tyler Garrett.
All I want to do is put a drink in my hand. To fill it up, I'll throw it down.
Want to hear the sound of hassle-free traveling?
All aboard!
Amtrak takes the hassle out of traveling to over 500 destinations. You can stretch out in a spacious seat, relax in a sleeping car, and enjoy a hot meal in the dining car. And for those who want to kick back and take in the scenery, go right ahead. For everything you get on Amtrak, the one thing you won't get is this. So whether you're going to a family reunion or an away game, make it a whole lot nicer on Amtrak. Book your trip today at Amtrak.com or call 1-800-USA-RAIL.
All aboard!
Hate the thought of shopping? All that hassle and can't find what you're looking for anyway? We understand. Retail stores make it difficult. Instead, try www.edistooutdoors.com. Edisto Outdoors features performance apparel and gear engineered for performance, comfort, and style. EdistoOutdoors.com. You'll enjoy the shopping and you'll enjoy the products. Great products from people who care.
Attention pain sufferers. Are you one of the millions of Americans who suffer from arthritis pain, back pain, muscle strains, or any other pain? Get pain relief in minutes with real-time pain relief. It can work that fast. If your pain is preventing you from enjoying life, or worse, if pain is keeping you up at night, visit rtpr.com/radio for your free sample. We're so confident real-time pain relief will help you, we'll even pay for the shipping and handling. That's right, free sample and free shipping of the best-smelling, most effective topical pain relief product on the market.
I tried it and it worked. The fragrance is amazing. It has a refreshing scent, so I'm pain-free and smell good too.
The makers of real-time pain relief are so confident that you'll love their product. They're offering you a sample absolutely free, and that includes free shipping. Remember to visit rtpr.com/radio now for your free sample with free shipping. That's rtpr.com/radio. Again, go to rtpr.com/radio.
We scoop the poop, dutycalls.com. When nobody else will do it, dutycalls.com. To make that dog poop go away, call or click for a free quote today.
When nature calls, we answer. To get a free quote for dog poop removal, go to dutycalls.com now.
DOODYCALLS. Dutycalls.com.
In the Midlands area, dial 1-800-DUTY-CALLS. They're number one and number two.
And now the number one reason to get Genie from DirecTV, the most advanced HD DVR ever. It serves your entire home with one HD DVR. Call now and get a free upgrade to Genie. Packages start at $29.99 a month.
Call 800-399-5101 now and get the NFL Sunday ticket free for the rest of the season. That's 800-399-5101.
DirecTV or an RVU-enabled TV device required for each additional room. Additional and advanced receiver fees apply. Offer requires 24-month agreement and qualifying package. $29.99 package not eligible. Offer ends 2/6/13. New approved customers only. Lease required. Other conditions apply. Call for details.
Think if you live in a rural area you have to settle for a slow online experience? We think that's crazy. Exceed Broadband. It's the highest capacity satellite in the world, and it makes everything faster. Streaming videos, TV shows and movies, sharing photos, video chatting, sending files, and more. New feature, Late Night Free Zone. For details, call 800-503-7232. That's 800-503-7232 for Exceed Broadband. Call 800-503-7232. Again, 800-503-7232. Call now, 800-503-7232.
All right, welcome back into the Carolina CrowLine. We are wrapping up the program, wall-to-wall Clemson, Carolina talk. Can't wait to get it on there in Death Valley. 7 o'clock on Saturday. Clemson opens as the early 4-point favorite, and I can tell you what, I couldn't be more excited about this game coming up. And Lawton, is glad to have you here. And we're just going to go ahead and give our final breakdowns here with this short amount of time that we have. So I'm going to let you take it first.
Yeah, well, I think, first of all, when you look at it, and I'm obviously giving my prediction to Clemson people on TigerNet Talk this week, Wednesday night, 9 p.m. for all you Gamecocks who might want to tune in, live on ClemsonSportsTalk.com. Plug. But I think, Clemson having the home field advantage in this game is going to be big. I think the fact that Carolina has won 3 in a row and Clemson knows that's kind of burning in their craw a little bit. And to say the least, I think the Clemson fans are going to be all over the Gamecocks from the beginning. I've seen people say they're not going to sell tickets. Home field advantage is going to be huge, but this is definitely the biggest matchup between these two teams in our state's history. But I did enjoy my time here on the Carolina CrowLine, Tyler, and I certainly appreciate you having me on. And I look forward to doing it next year. Maybe we can do some basketball shows together or something, because I'm sure Carolina basketball might need a little boost from the ACC, right?
Absolutely. I look forward to that. And turning our attention to the game on Saturday, I just think that the story of the game will be up front, as it always is, the offensive lines versus the defensive lines. If South Carolina can create pressure with their front four and not have to drop anybody extra down into the box to get pressure on Taj Boyd and make him feel uncomfortable, I think that would be the key to South Carolina being successful. Clemson just has so many weapons, and South Carolina defense is going to have to stay true to their gaps, their assignments, not get caught up in play fakes or misdirection or play action, because the South Carolina secondary is vulnerable to the deep pass, and I think that's something that Clemson definitely specializes in. The question will be, can Connor Shaw stay upright and not spend any time on his back, and can they sprinkle in the run effectively to create deep threats down the field? South Carolina is severely missing an Alshon Jeffrey this year, so it will be interesting to see if South Carolina can generate the kind of offense they need to hang with that potent Clemson attack. If the South Carolina defense cannot create chaos and disruption up front. At the end of the day, though, I think Clemson actually gets back to their winning ways in the rivalry. I'm actually going to take the Tigers at home, 35-21. Not that high-flying offense. I think the South Carolina D will affect Clemson a little bit, but in the end, not enough. And Clemson moves on to their BCS hopes. You heard it right here first, folks. 35-21.